Welcome to Energy Tracker Asia, where we explore the trends, transformation shaping the energy sector. Today, we're diving into an incredibly important topic: the role of technical consultants in the energy transition and the growing impact of women in energy leadership. Our guest today is Dr. Utkarshaa Varshney, a technical consultant in power and new energy, whose work has been instrumental in shaping decarbonization strategies. In this episode, we'll discuss her journey, the challenges and opportunities for women in the energy sector, and the role of consultancy in driving clean energy solutions. Utkarshaa, it's a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
All right, so let's start with the big picture. You've been working in energy transition consulting for a while now. What's your take on gender inclusivity in the energy sector, particularly in power and new energy?
Yeah, and a good question to start with. So I think like many other technical sectors, like energy sector is no different, and it has traditionally been very male dominated. The industry has surely made some significant strides towards gender inclusivity. So, but I have to say that we still have like a really long way to go. In my personal career, I recognize that the biggest value in having the diversity is to welcome the range of perspectives that women bring. And especially when it comes to like tackling complex issues like energy transition, energy security, decarbonization, climate crisis. It's one of the biggest challenges for our generation. So we really do need inclusive voices for women, for all kinds of minority groups as well. And like to give an example, including my company at Wally, we're working hard to be in the right direction by offering like different sort of mentorship programs to create inclusive hiring practices and focus on leadership and diversity. There are still challenges, particularly because we don't have enough women in senior leadership positions, and that really needs to change.
That's such an important point. Diversity isn't just about fairness, right? It genuinely leads to better solutions. So it's great to hear that companies are making effort, but as you said, there is still a long road ahead. What inspired your interest in energy transition and gender equity within the energy landscape?
Sure. I grew up in India, and that was a time when climate change was all over the news and all over the newspapers. 10 years ago, when I was growing up, 10 years, 15 years ago, and that really inspired me to take electrical engineering as a career. And since my very early university days, I've always been like deeply passionate about renewable energy. Still, very much am, and I strongly believe in its potential to solve the global energy crisis. As I like further progressed in my career, I've lived across three different continents. I did notice that gender diversity wasn't great anywhere necessarily, particularly in like the senior leadership roles, which I also mentioned earlier. So now I truly work hard towards gender equity. I'm a chair of something called Women of Wally, which is one of our people network groups at Wally, and we work on championing the gender diversity and inclusion by creating a safe environment where everyone feels represented and valued. I also work in the Committee of Women in Energy here in Perth, where we also aim to champion the voices of women in the energy sector. And we do this by providing a range of networking opportunities, training in career development potential opportunities, and things like that. So yeah, so I'm not alone. I'm sure there's a lot of women alongside me who are passionate about this and are working hard to go in the right direction.
For sure. I love how your passion for clean energy started early and then grew alongside your career. And it's fascinating that you've lived and worked across multiple continents as well. Gaining such a global perspective must have given you unique insights, right? From your experience, what are some of the key challenges that women face in technical and consulting role within this sector?
Yeah, sure. I think in my experience, I would again say like one of the biggest challenges still is the lack of female representation in like the senior roles. You can't be what you can't see, really. The sector has historically been male dominated. Women have often been overlooked when it comes to leadership positions, despite having similar or sometimes even better qualifications. And they do feel the need to prove themselves a lot more than their male peers, which is not great and has been discouraging for a lot of women. In addition to that, I also think that another challenge, particularly for women, is to have a proper work life balance. As a lot of women do have pressures of managing and balancing personal life, the roles of motherhood, and like just managing family in general, it sometimes can get overwhelming to manage that with demanding long hours and travel that all of our work schedules have necessarily. I think it's like the work from home arrangements since like the COVID hit and like equal parental leaves have made a positive impact in the industry. But again, I think we do have quite a bit of road to follow.
Yes, that's something I hear a lot. Women have to prove themselves more than their male peers. And then there is a
Absolutely.
balance is bad, which adds another layer of complexity, right? But beyond workplace structure, cultural expectation also play a huge role. How do you think culture factor influence women's participation in energy-related field, especially in markets where traditional gender roles are still prevalent?
Oh, I think it makes a huge difference. Yeah, I definitely think that cultural aspects have a massive influence on any women's participation in technical field across the globe. Often, women have been expected to pursue careers in roles like administration rather than technical and leadership roles. So this like also discourage young girls and young women who have the potential to be like future leaders from pursuing careers in energy related fields. Be it engineering, policy making, consulting, all these fields are truly rewarding, and I really want women to have equitable opportunities and seat on the table to make that happen.
That's such a crucial point. It's not just about policy, it's about shifting mindsets too. And that's why representation matters so much. Speaking of leadership, you've worked across different industry. Are there any specific barriers women encounter when trying to step into leadership roles in energy consulting?
Yeah, for sure. I think again we did mention about the lack of representation, and I personally feel that is one of the biggest barriers because if you have like really few role models to look up to, then it's really hard to like navigate the industry and understand the challenges that the industry brings. I also feel that the one another challenge could be the unconscious bias that still is in decision making, where most people still prefer like certain traits that have been traditionally been associated with men and not with women. So like you are asked about the cultural factor, so I also think the societal expectations is another big barrier for women, and that is not just in the energy sector. That's like an overall global issue where like responsibility of kids, having a family, being a mother has seen more of a women job and not necessarily something that both partners equally should contribute to. And finally, I also believe that networking is something that a lot of women struggle with compared to men. There's a lot of like senior positions and leadership roles get filled by like networking, and people know people, and that's who they hire. And women, I feel they either don't have those strong networks or they don't fully utilize them, which like sometimes keep them behind the ladder.
Yes, that makes so much sense. It's like a circle. Fewer women in leadership means fewer role models, making it even harder for the next generation to break through. But on the flip side, when women are included in decision making, the results speaks for themselves. We also often hear that gender inclusive policy can improve not only workplace equity, but also energy security and sustainability. From your perspective, how does greater gender inclusion contribute to better decision making in energy transition strategies?
Yeah, no, really good point. Yeah, I think inclusivity certainly brings the best outcomes. I've seen that personally as well. I've heard so many positive stories and success stories about that. And I think when women get included in decision making, they bring a certain perspective that usually emphasizes things like better community engagement, better development, and a lot of like social sustainability side of things, which we sometimes don't necessarily account in the like heavily technical fields like energy. So I think achieving those long term energy goals and doing a just energy transition is really, really important to have female voices included. And policies that promote like gender inclusivity are really critical to ensure that happens, that women gets positioned to contribute in the most innovative ways and in the solutions that will be the most effective in this energy transition to happen.
All right, absolutely. A more inclusive approach brings in fresh ideas and a perspective that might otherwise be overlooked. Have you seen companies or governments implementing these effective policy to improve gender equity in energy?
Absolutely, yeah. I think the best part, or like the most positive out of all this, is a lot of companies and a lot of governments across the globe are working hard to improve gender equity, which is really crucial as well. A lot of organizations now have groups to champion gender diversity. Like I mentioned, what we have internally called Women of Worley at my workplace. There are also a lot of companies who have like formal mentorship programs and formal sponsorship programs to sponsor young women who come at graduate levels and to promote them into senior roles and to achieve like a certain sort of percentage to be a women in the energy in the senior roles. And all these initiatives will definitely help improve the gender equity and provide like equal or equitable opportunities to women in the energy sector. And I think that not just in the energy space, this is something that's happening in like all the sectors in different ranges and varieties. But it's certainly happening. Yes.
Yes, that's very promising. It's one thing to talk about change, but seeing actual policy in action gives, hope. Are there any successful program or initiatives that have effectively addressed gender inclusivity in energy transition projects before?
Yeah, I think addressed is a pretty strong word, but there are a lot of policies and programs that are working towards addressing that gender bias. One such initiative that comes to mind is the Clean Energy Council's Women in Renewables program. They have been running this, I think, for the last 10 years. It started in 2015, still going pretty strong. It's something that aims at providing development opportunities for women. It includes a stage to showcase the contribution that females do in this industry and to help develop their networks as well. They have a couple of scholarships that are part of their program and also includes a dedicated mentorship program too. So that's definitely been quite successful here in Australia.
I see. These programs sound like game changers. And beyond those programs, sometimes it's individual women leading the charge. Can you share some example of women-led energy projects that have made a significant impact on decarbonization or new energy technologies?
No, for sure. I think the at international level, the one that comes to mind is the Solar Sister Initiative that occurred in Africa. That was a pretty important movement. It was completely women-led. That empowered women entrepreneurs to distribute like different kind of solar energy solutions. It was modules, it was lamps, pumps, and everything. And that was also to help like the off-grid rural communities. So it was the best of both worlds. The people were getting energy who usually don't get it from the grid. Women were getting empowered, who are also usually not get those opportunities. So it was a win-win situation. It really helped in tackling energy poverty in Africa, of course, reducing energy emissions and empowered women at the same time. So it was like a really successful movement. Um, Personally, I've also like in like my own personal journey, I've worked with teams that have delivered very successful energy transition projects that were led by very strong female leaders. Both in my time in academia and now in industry for the last 5 years. I've seen brilliant scientists and engineers who have been women and who have been like my mentors, my seniors, my role models. So yeah, and like also in like the new industry side of things. So there are a lot of female-led startups that are coming in Australia, and I'm sure globally as well in different parts of the world. So there are great examples of strong female leadership for us to look up to as well.
Yeah, yes, that's very incredible. And then, the concept of a just energy transition means making sure no one is left behind, including women and underrepresented groups. What strategy do you think countries, particularly in the Asia Pacific region, can adopt to improve this gender inclusivity in their energy transition efforts?
Yeah, sure. I'm glad you asked this question. Yeah, because while we are combating the biggest challenge for our generation, which has been and is very much the climate energy crisis, we need to understand the importance that energy transition doesn't only need to happen, it has to happen justly or in the right way. Where, as you said, we don't want to leave anyone behind. We want to take every community together in this journey, in this transition. I think for you mentioned the APAC region in particular. I think first and foremost, it's important to invest in the education early on for young girls. You got to start early, start strong. So this will lead to a very skilled workforce of women at every level in the industry, and that will help create better opportunities for them to be scientists, engineers, technicians, and leaders of this energy transition. So if we start and if we invest early on in women education, I think that'll be a massive game changer. We can also help offer scholarships and mentoring, sponsorships, and these things to promote the people who have potential early on to become the next generation of female leaders. I also feel that for inclusivity, it's really important to create workplaces that support a more as I mentioned, that work-life balance has been and is very much still a struggle for a lot of women. So we really need to understand and how to create inclusive workplace for women. So you can do things like flexible working environment, flexible working hours, and then equal parental leaves or better parental leaves for women, and provide them more remote opportunities, like remote work opportunities, so they can work from home if they have a sick child at home to cater to, and things like these. I think that'll really help um, to improve gender inclusivity, not just our industry, but everywhere.
I think those are such valuable suggestions and recommendations. And I also left that starting early with education and skill building is key. But I
Mm.
believe it's also important to make sure women have a seat at the table. So, how do you think women voices can be better integrated into energy policy making and decision making structures?
I think it's really, really crucial to have women voices, as you said, to have a seat at the table and to have them included at every single level of policy and decision making, at for all the countries. I think one way to ensure this is by actively getting more women into senior positions. Once you have women in the senior positions, another thing is to have it's really important to have that mentorship mindset for all people who are at the senior leadership roles, where the people who have already been established in the energy space can now mentor and sponsor the next generation of people to come. It's really it's sort of it's a way of giving back, because a lot of people help any individual to reach a certain level of position. So once you are there, it's really important for them to start offering opportunities for the next people to come. So by offering opportunities to lead, to advise on policies, on different projects, proposals, we can ensure that the gender inclusivity isn't just a tick box, but it's actually something which is making a structural change in the organizations.
That's a great point. I also believe if women are more involved in shaping policy, I think the entire sector would benefit more. And I think collaboration is crucial in any transition as well. How important do you think partnerships between civil society, industry, and government in advancing gender equity in energy?
I think they're absolutely critical. Yeah, the civil societies are the advocates for policy change. They raise the awareness about the importance of gender inclusivity. They're always against gender bias. So the collaboration of them with the actual people who make the policies and changes, it's absolutely critical. They can help shape the policies of the future. Yeah, that would focus on increasing women's access to energy education, technical training, equitable employment opportunities in the energy sector, renewable sector in particular. So I think, again, establishing some mentorship programs, some personal development trainings, workshops will help them make financially stable. So these collaborations across the organizations will not only impact one person or a few people. I think it'll be like an entire generation of change.
Absolutely. No single group can do it alone. It's a collective effort. What role do you think the international organizations and global networks played in supporting gender equity effort in this energy transition?
Yeah, no, as I said for the previous question as well, I think I strongly believe that like cross-border partnerships and collaborations are very, very important in supporting gender equity in like energy transition, but also in general. I think in like on an international level, we all are aware that organizations like UN Women, the IRENA, so International Renewable Energy Agency, the World Economic Forum, they have been like the organizations who have been championing the gender energy nexus for years, and they've been like a solid advocate for it. Here in Australia, if you ask me, there are a lot of organizations as well, like Clean Energy Council, Workplace Gender Equity Agency, and also like the National Council of Women of Australia, who do like similar work. They are working in on championing the gender diversity and inclusion through a lot of different initiatives. They provide platforms really for like knowledge sharing and then help women who don't get opportunities and don't get platforms to come up to the surface and help them get better and get different kind of opportunities and different ways to showcase their potential as well.
I see. So all of these efforts are helping pave the way for a more inclusive industry. So looking ahead, what are your hopes for the future of gender inclusivity in the energy sector as well?
Yeah, no, that's definitely one of my favorite questions. Well, I hope that in the next 10 years, 20 years down the line for our daughters and their daughters, the gender inclusive practices will become part of the fabric instead of being like a separate cause, instead of it being like a tick box. It just becomes normal that's how it is. Like if it's an inclusive word, everyone has equitable or somewhat similar opportunities to grow in whatever fields that they want to grow. So I really want that for future generations to create a world where women are equally represented and provided same opportunities at all levels, and not just in the energy industry but everywhere. Yeah, that's my hope and my vision.
Yes, I love that version. Making inclusivity a given rather than something to fight for. But of course, change doesn't happen on its own. Like I said, it takes a collective effort. And how can our listener also get involved or support those initiatives that promote gender equity in energy?
Sure, I think that's a great question. I think everyone has a part to play in this. It's such a massive issue, and it's something that is prevalent in every single country across the globe. I've lived in so many different places in my journey till here, and it's been something which is like everywhere. So every single person has a part to play in getting a gender equitable energy transition and getting a gender unbiased word. I think first and foremost, anyone can advocate for an inclusive hiring practices. So wherever you work, talk to your managers, talk to the people in your organizations about utilizing like diverse recruitment strategies, and provide trainings to avoid that unconscious bias or to tackle that unconscious bias. So this is something like everyone can do. So regardless of where you work, which industry you are in, have this conversation early on. So if you see something, say something. I think it's also like everyone can support women-led businesses. Like there are a lot of businesses. There's a lot of like research that's happening in that aspect. So you can always support like the businesses that are women-led, the initiatives we're talking about, like UN Women and Clean Energy Council. So there are a lot of initiatives around that. So you can always support them in the clean energy sector. You can either invest in them or you can invest your time. So you can volunteer for them. So these things are something that everyone can do. And I think finally a big one is just stay informed. Like just don't be just don't avoid these conversations. They're really important. Just stay informed, keep having these conversations, and be conscious that about the gender equity and the gender bias that we have. But work hard to just not have them in the future and create a better version of the future for our next generations to come.
That's such a great reminder that we all have a role to play. For young women aspiring to work in this energy consulting or technical roles, what advice would you give them?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think my biggest advice would be just believe in yourself. Like, you can do it. You can do any job that you put your heart and mind at. And if there's anyone who tells you otherwise, don't listen to them. And don't listen to them. You have it in you what it takes. Yeah, just keep asking questions, keep meeting new people, learn from your experiences, but also learn from other people's experiences. You don't have to make mistakes that others have already made. They learn from their mistakes. Try to be better every single day. Try to find mentors and sponsors early. The people who can actually guide you on this journey and support you when you'll face challenges, because you certainly will face challenges. So
Mhm.
don't shy away from them. Make your own mistakes, but also learn from everyone else around you. The energy sector certainly needs new innovations and new innovators to solve this massive crisis that we have in front of us.
It's very simple yet very powerful advice.
Thanks.
The energy sector definitely needs more passionate innovators, and I have no doubt that your words right now will inspire many people. Okasha, it's been an insightful discussion, and thank you for sharing your expertise and your journey along with us today.
It's been an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for tuning into today's episode. If you found this episode insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated on the latest in the energy transition. For more in-depth analysis and updates, visit our website at energytracker.asia. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next time on Energy Insight.